Hey,
Hear you as well. That's wonderful.
how are you?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
Oh, very good. You've been doing a lot of things, haven't you?
Like what?
I don't know, doing army stuff and
Yeah. Oh,
a
yes.
lot of.
And grandchildren. Yes, due to my son separating this year, there's there's those
You
emergency grandchildren, minding things that I'm the only one left, right? So, uh,
got to do it.
yeah, I got to do it. And I know that you understand that. And I'm like, oh, but what I've looked at is, the thing that you sent me as well. And being able to do that at least monthly is what I'd like to commit to.
Yeah, that'd be great. Great. And by the way, you're looking good, girl. You're keeping
Oh,
up the routine. Yes.
keeping up the routine. Yes. Yes, I am. Not without injury, but, they come and go, right? We persevere through those. So that's happening
Absolutely.
at the moment. Everything's loading up for me. Now, I do have it on record. I have put the other interview up there. What I'm going to do is I've just made um, as what was it? A title and a tile that I'm going to put on each interview, and
Okay.
it's called through her eyes, the Vicki files.
No, oh, it sounds like the what is it, the X-Files.
Not
Hey, that's
quite.
cool. Now, so
Yes.
I've given you the document about just the life stuff, very
Yes.
broad,
Yeah.
and you just ask me and I'll just answer.
Great. And that's where we're going to go from here. Um, just setting all this all up. So glad that you could make it. We have been toing and froing. And the next time, what I'd like you to do, if possible, with that link that you used before to book in, can you see if you can book into June and July? I don't know
Yes.
how far ahead you can go, but I'm like at least the next 2 or 3 months. So I know that we're working, towards that, and I'm clearing out my
Okay.
salary and because I really
Cool.
want to get this, story happening.
Going. Yes. Get it. I know what you're like. You're just like me. I
I know,
love it.
and that's why you're my inspiration for, people to come and others. I know it's going to be wonderful for others as well. So I'm
Yes.
just going to bring up my questions. And how have you been this week? What's been going on for you just while I'm getting this done?
I have had a lot of stuff going on. Always those challenges that happen. It's been like a challenging couple of weeks.
Okay.
And my husband had a procedure for ablation and all that. Well,
Yeah.
the thing is, he's kind of a bit of a baby. So he kept thinking he was going to, if he got it done, he'd going to die on the table. It's taken him 2 years to get this done, to
Wow.
decide to do it. And it's like it's fine. He's recovering. It's like he's still alive. But all the stress and pressure he put me under with all this, I'm going to die on the table and the family, pretty honestly, the family, they're all a bunch of hypochondriacs. So they all think the worst is always going to happen. They don't think
Oh,
like, okay, it's going to work, it's fine, everything's normal. And it's not a big procedure. It's quite a simple procedure actually. But
so
anyway,
so he just wanted some seen and heard, right?
it's all about him.
My husband my husband had a thing that he said early on in my days, our relationship days, and he goes, "It's not all about you, Michelle." And you know what? I stood in that moment and I went, "Like hell, it's not. It is all about me, right?" And so I went from that point on. He taught me that it is all about me because in that moment I went, "Hang on a minute. When you say it's not all about you, Michelle, you're then making it all about you."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
You
went,
have to you have to stick with your plan. In other words, you've got to look after yourself. You have to be who you are, and everybody has to look after themselves.
"They
Nobody's going to look. No, I mean, looking after people, yeah. I mean, if they've been sick or they've whatever, yeah, that's different.
do."
But as far as being, propping them up and doing all this sort of thing, it's just because
No, and it's not.
it's
So a challenging week, health-wise and family, basically. So what are you doing this week for you?
This week for me, I have gotten back into my routine of exercise. I've kind of dropped that a little bit with everything that was going on. My routine was out. And I think everybody to a point needs a routine.
I
Well, I
agree.
certainly do.
I do
I
too.
certainly do. I have a plan and I know, yeah, and I know when I've got to do something, I've got to be consistent. If I don't let going to the gym go, I don't let any of the exercise routine go because I know as I'm getting older, it's becoming more important.
Oh,
And it's
very.
not because of the looks, it's because of my health.
That's right. And
And I
that
don't want to be taking medication.
no,
And I'm
you
not.
have quality still left there, and consistency has definitely been that word for me too. And without your health, or without, it doesn't matter how much money you got, doesn't matter where you're living, doesn't matter what you've got in your life to have. If the health and the physicalness of being able to move is not there,
Mhm.
you're left to the other people's devices with no quality of life. And
And we do take what we have for granted
yeah,
a lot of the time. And it's funny, isn't it? When you've been through pain and illness, which we've all, and I have, and it's funny, you think back and it's a wonderful reminder. It's funny how your mind will try and block all that
mm,
because it's a painful memory.
yes,
But when you do look back and think, I couldn't do this, I couldn't do this, and I'm complaining, oh, I can't do all this now. And I'm going, well, have a look back, Vicky. Have a little chat to myself. Have a look back. Remember. So it's a great reminder.
have a look back.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of things to do with remembering, but it's going back even further. It's remembering all the way back from, long, long times ago, back to 3 and 4. However,
Yeah.
we're going to get into it now. Our first interview was basically like the introduction, right? That was the, hey, Vicky, thanks for joining us. We're going to go on a journey, right? So we're going
Okay.
to start this one. I'll crop everything that we've just done, even though it's been in recording. And I think you did so wonderful, in that first interview as well. What I do and itching to ask is, how's your backstage going?
Excellent. Thank you very much. Backstage is going very, very well. Doing so many more diverse things. Wow, since last time I did one from London, actually. It's an English company.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a natural therapy company.
Mhm.
And I did a lot of different videos for that one. That was just a completely different style of thing. One I did recently, or a few I've done recently, were without script, which I love
Okay.
because they give me the concept of what it is. They give me and then I can put my own spin on it.
Yeah.
It's actually easier than doing a script.
Yeah.
Apart from learning the script, it's more natural. And if they want a more natural delivery, it's best give me the concept. What are you trying to do with this thing? And this product, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And then I'll just off I go. It's been good. No, it's been consistent. It's great. Mostly at the moment, I'm doing a lot from home, which is on my own phone, all the rest of it, and I just send it in. They pay me
Yeah. Well,
like it. Trying for a
perfect.
couple more commercials here that are alive. So I'm trying for a couple more there. I think I'll get those. I'm sticking with that at the moment with everything that's been going on around my life right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But I want to go for the film thing, more short film
Okay.
on site. So that's the next level.
Wonderful. Well, since I last talked to you, I signed up to Backstage, so thank you very much. And and I've been, uploading my thing, whatever it's called, your profile, uh,
Uh,
and that'll slowly come together. And I've applied for some jobs, but all I'm doing is getting used to doing that. I don't care if anything comes back. But what an interesting thing was is something popped up on Facebook, and they're doing a film within nearly an hour Shire, so it's an hour away in Warrnambool, where I parade for Army, but I'm an extra, so that's a good start, right?
That's excellent. That really is excellent. And you know what the fun part is? You just get to meet new people from different walks of life, and there's different reasons they're doing this. It's more just some just want to do it fun, some want to be famous movie stars, somebody want whatever, but and they're all different age groups from different walks of life, and I just love that. It's so fantastic.
And
Congratulations.
well, so you're
It's
that
funny.
inspiration as well.
Hey, when you're famous, I want your autograph.
Same goes.
Vice versa.
We'll be doing the books out. Um, but the thing is, most of my community, which is Portland, they've got 400 extras going in this particular movie. And there's a great sum of people that I know from Portland that are all going over. So my community is going to be in there as well. So it's interesting. But yeah,
Fun.
and I can talk to people about backstage from this point on. So we're going to get into the interview. Are we ready?
Yes, I agree.
That was just, some background stuff. So wonderful to have you here, Vicki.
Thank you.
We're going on a journey of your life story, and this is our second interview that we're doing together. And you've given me a little bit of a summary of your life, and we're going to go through that summary step by step. So we're going to come to people every month, and the part that we're going to start with is what you gave me is about growing up. So
Mm.
this was talking about, from birth, and what happened in that early childhood and with your mother and the upbringing that goes on there. So I'm going back to your earliest memories, and we're going to go through a set of questions. So can you share any of your earliest memories of growing up, particularly those related to your health challenges as a premature baby?
Okay. I don't. There were bits and pieces, but I do remember probably maybe 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, they didn't. We're talking 60s here, right? So
Yep.
64. Going back a long time. Health system wasn't as, as advanced as it is now.
Mhm.
I was had some kidney problems or something, but I was very, very sick.
Yep.
Very sickly, because I was premature, apparently died twice, according to my mother. And they had me in an incubator for 6 months, but I survived.
Yeah.
And I kind of get the feeling that I didn't even know that until a long time after. Like when I was a teenager, my mother told me that. So I had no idea, and I didn't know why I was so sickly. So my body had not developed properly, all these sorts of things. So I would be sick. All I remember is I would be sick for 6 weeks at a time, twice a year. So there'd be 12 weeks of the year. And I was going to school, but I would catch up somehow
Mm.
because I was smart. Naturally smart. No, I don't know, but I was good at school anyway, and that was fine. But yeah, not pleasant, not pleasant memories. My mother was very, very caring, obviously, and very, very good during that time. That went on until I was about 9 or 10, and suddenly it stopped, and I grew out of it.
Mm. So
I never knew what it was.
how would you describe the atmosphere in your household during during your early years?
Um, my parents were Uh, we moved all the time. We moved every 12 months. My dad always wanted to move to make money on houses. He thought that was a good thing to do. Probably wasn't really good. My brother was 6 years older than me, so it would have been harder for him because he had to move schools so
Mm.
often. And so moving was part of our life. That's what we did. And it was a loving, I believe it was loving. My mother was very loving, but I always felt that my parents were not getting on. There was never any loud fights or anything of that nature, but you can kind of tell.
Mm.
You get the sense that they're not, they weren't happy together. And then my father started to make money. He went into his own business and he made money. And then all of a sudden we became wealthy, which was probably worse. And we had all the stuff that we didn't have when we were very young. But yeah, that time was odd. I always felt like my mother was fairly depressed,
Okay.
probably because the relationship wasn't working
Mm.
actually.
So with health challenges that you talked about, up to that 9 or 10 years of age, how did your early health struggles, because you talked about them briefly, such as being born prematurely and the experiences of dying twice, I don't know if that's ever come back to you through dreams or anything like that and returning, affect your childhood and your family, do you think?
how did it affect my childhood? What it did affect that I was very determined uh, to like a school. I was never going to be behind. I was very determined it wasn't going to stop me. And when I did grow out of whatever that was, um, then I was even more determined to live life, do what I wanted to do.
Mm.
And I wanted to be, I think I might have mentioned before, but a travel agent or a movie actress.
Mm.
I got the gig with a travel agent and it was hard work. Believe me, it was hard work. But I wanted to, that's what I wanted to do because I thought I don't have time to waste. Maybe that's something in the subconscious about dying twice, not nearly making it, and these sorts of things. I've been gifted with life
Mm.
or a life to live. For
Mm.
some reason, I've been kept here. Get out there and do as much as you can, and then yeah, and then from then on, I'd learn other things about helping others as well.
So, in relation to that, are there any particular stories that come to mind as we're chatting or moments related to your health that stand out in your memory? Any story?
Just basically not being able to eat, lying there, looking at the ceiling, can't move, can't eat, can't do. Mum's trying to force feed you so you can take some sort of antibiotic or whatever they were trying to give me. Um, and pretty well throwing all that up most of the time. So it was miserable, actually. Totally miserable. And I'd be trying to read a book or something and you couldn't focus because you were just too sick. And
Mm.
it's a nasty little memory. Um, it's nasty, but it's amazing how you keep going. You just keep going. What else choice do you have? And as I said, my mother was very, very good at looking after me, and I was very lucky in that respect.
Yeah, yeah. So, going with family dynamics, with this next question, how would you describe your relationship with your mother, especially considering, she was strict. She had that strict approach to parenting. So, how would you describe your relationship with your mum?
Whew, I would say it's just really like a good and bad. I guess. We were Victorian upbringing. It was a Victorian upbringing, which meant you don't look sideways, you never answer back. You and it was always this, you can't do this, you can't do that kind of
Yeah.
upbringing. And then, of course, you were very restricted and you felt like, oh, I can't do anything. I mean, sometimes you could look at us sideways and you get a whack. I mean, in those days, you got whacked, right?
Yeah.
If you got into trouble, you got whacked. And I guess you get whacked on the butt and be flying to the other side of the room. These days, it'll be called abuse, I guess. But I don't regret that, actually.
Mm.
And I think it was good. She was very hard, very tough. And you know what it did? It was prepared me for the real world when I got out to the real world.
Yeah.
And I'm not a child anymore. And I'm very grateful for that, even though it was hard and yeah, probably a little bit too much. But I also think it's because she had a hard upbringing. She did the same thing. And, and she wasn't that happy. So add that all together and I can understand.
And how do you feel your relationship was?
It's funny, I love my mother. She's very close. Because we were very much alike in a lot of ways. She was very sharp, meaning, sorry, not in my own horn here or trumpet, but it was because she could read people very well. She was very good at reading people when my father wasn't so good at that. So that's where there was a compliment to each other for different things. And she could read the room. She knew people. She knew if somebody was upset without them even saying anything. She was drawn to that. And I was lucky to get that side of things too, because it's something that is not learned. It's something that you're born with or is in your genes. It's just something you have, and it's a gift that
Mm.
you should use wisely. Grasshopper, as they say. It's true, yeah. But no, we were close. I was very close to my mother. For a lot of the reasons, mainly because she cared for me very well when I was ill.
And so I think you've answered the next question. You tend to do this throughout interviews, is that,
Sorry.
No, it's all good. So if you can share an instance that exemplifies your mother's parenting style and how it impacted you.
Yeah, well, as I said, the Victorian I didn't like much, but as I said, I thanked her later when I got out into the real world because, and then I started to realize that a lot of people were not prepared. I mean, I started working when I was 16. I never graduated. I did that way later on. That's another story. But I did, yeah, for another time. I did start this job thinking I had no idea about budget. I had no idea what I was doing. There was no training. I was just thrown in the deep end. It's either sink or swim. You want this job, and this because I went to a good school at that point. I was going to a good school, private school. And because the name was known, the name got me the job. He wanted to get people that were young and start them off, but he was a slave driver. So the good thing is though, because of my discipline, I was very disciplined
Yeah.
because I was brought up in a disciplined environment. I'd also moved a lot, so I was used to flexibility and change within my work. They'd have me do one thing and I'd be running over here doing that, or all over the place. But I could handle that. I could handle that because of the preparation that my mother had given me.
Which leads us into the next question as well. Very similar one. So it's about, the influence of that upbringing. So in what ways do you think your mother's, strictness influenced your upbringing and your outlook on life? Moving further along with last question, last answer.
Uh, Sorry, what the result was?
So,
You
yeah, so what was the influence, your upbringing in your outlook on life?
Discipline, to be disciplined.
Yeah.
Discipline with everything you do because and discipline with yourself and discipline everything that around you. You've got to have a routine. You've got to stick with what you're doing. You've got to work. You've got to earn. You can't just have things given to you and not do anything. And that's something you earn, you keep. It's basically earn, you keep.
Earn your
And I
keep.
did.
I like that. Earn your keep. So, are there aspects of your childhood that you believe directly contributed to the person that you are today?
Yes. One significant one is moving all the time and change.
Mhm.
Change was normal for us. It was frequent. So get used to being in a new neighborhood, being somewhere and making friends. And you had to just go out and make friends because if they didn't know you, you're just sitting there, you're brand new, and you're going to move in 12 months again. You better just make as many friends as you got. And I've done that all my life, and I've got friends everywhere. They're all over the place. But you learn to do that because you didn't think how much time you would have. So better find some friends fast and have some fun.
Mm.
That's what
Beautiful.
I did.
So,
So the moving.
moving is that adapt and change, which, some people stay in the same place their whole life and they don't even leave their county or their town or country. So it does develop a certain skill in life, and I understand totally. So the coping and resilience where we're moving into. So how did you and your family cope with the challenges of your early health issues that were happening in that first stage of life? So how did your family cope with those challenges?
Well, I didn't really know my father because he was working all the time.
Yeah.
So I never got any time with him. So it was mostly my mother, was my parent. Um, so I just think it was part of what we did. And I don't, it's a hard one to answer. I'm
Mm.
not sure really the answer to that one.
So yeah, so the challenges. So um, how did your
I
family?
mean, my mother looked after me. The challenges, my father, I don't know because I didn't know him
Yeah.
because he was working all the time. My brother, I had a brother, older brother. Um, he's pretty much to himself. We actually never really knew each other much at
Mm.
all, except when he wanted me to do chores that he didn't want to do.
So you think that your
We
mum
know
dealt
we
with
know each other now, though.
Yeah, your mum sort of dealt with the challenges as they arose, and because that's what you did in that time, and there was nothing else. She had no choice but to, raise with the challenges, which would have influenced your life currently when a challenge comes up in your life.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think with the health side of things, naturally, as soon as I came good, I mean, I joined a gym when I was 15, but I thought I'm gonna be fit, and I did take it to extreme, as you probably it
Well,
goes
did
on
you?
later, but I mean, to the good, well, it's good extreme. But the thing is that I was very determined that I had to keep my health at check to make sure I'm good. So be fit, eat the right food, do all that sort of thing. So I learned that early,
And because your
and
mum
that
was
was a good
always
thing
bringing,
too.
well, your mum's always bringing you back to health, and
That's right.
her nursing and her nurturing in that way meant that, it's that learning is, oh, my health must be, a requirement here. I can't stay, in that ill health my whole
Can't
life.
have that happen again. Yeah, I can't have that happen again. It was a like total refusal. I will not let that happen again. And so, which changed a little bit later on also. But that's the thing. But it's, as long as you have that mindset of, okay, I've got to get this done. This is what I need to do to stay healthy. I've got to eat these certain foods. It's not like I'm not some fitness freak. I used to get into it quite a bit. But I see you've got to enjoy life too, and you've got to moderate things. You can go too far one extreme, I think. But I just knew it was important that I had to do that so I could work and keep going and grow and move on with my life.
And that's continued right up until day dot as we are speaking. So, were there any particular strategies? So, looking at strategies or sources of strength, probably answered it, that helped you and your family through difficult times?
When I was with, sources of strength. That's a very good point. And you know what? I think it became within me. It came within me. It wasn't anybody else giving me the source of strength.
Mm.
Because my mum and dad actually split up when I was 11. I had no idea. Went off with some young girl who was a couple of years older than me. Well, a few years older than me. That sort of thing. And then he came back 6 months later. It was all a mess. And because she threatened to not, he couldn't see the kids, all this sort of stuff. And all it did was actually when he did come back, it was just a source of tension. It was just more tension because he
Mm.
didn't really want to be there, but da, da, da. So there was always that in the background. So I couldn't. They were a source of strength for me when it came. It was. I really relied on myself.
Mm.
I
That's
didn't have my grandmothers; they'd all died. I didn't have any other family, so.
Yeah. So the source of strength came from within. You learned how to find that within all the way back then. So just upon reflections, looking back, how did you feel about the way your early years unfolded? And is there anything that you wish had been different?
Yeah, I wished that I had seen my father more, but he worked, the 12 hours a day thing, but I'd be in bed or had the homework or whatever. I mean, see him in passing, he was like a stranger to me. And
Mm.
I only got to know him way, way, way later in life after my mother had died and spent many years with cancer and all that stuff. And it was really before he died that I gave him forgiveness because he always thought it was his fault, everything had happened, and he lived with that. So
Mm.
that all comes, later on. But yeah, so that was that.
So wishing that more time with the male influence
Family.
in your life, and
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
unit as a unit
The
as
whole unit. Yeah, because it was fragmented. So yeah.
and what lessons or insights have you carried with you from those early experiences? Lessons, insights.
Yeah, lessons learned. Don't rely on anybody else except yourself.
Mhm.
That's one
One.
definite one.
Anything else?
One definite one. Draw from those experiences from, being ill, how you dealt with that, how you got yourself out. when how you dealt with being ill and how you dealt when you were better, to focus on what you were doing and make up as much time as you could. And that's what I've done, actually. That's why I don't like to waste time. I don't like wasting time. I don't like not doing. And that's part of my growing up. I have to keep doing. Sometimes I would say probably I've learned more to stop more and think rather than just keep doing and keep running at a million miles an hour because you don't know how long you've got or you're going to get sick again or something. So it's that mind that's in the back of your mind from your childhood. And I
Driving.
still got it. Still
Yeah.
there.
Well, these are all
Still
the
there.
learnt things and the motivators. So that, source of strength that we talked about, or insights and lessons, is that's your motivator, always keeping you going. And it is good to stop, as you said, and slow down for a moment.
And just one other thing is never to give up.
Yes, because what happens
Never
when
give
you do?
up.
What happens when you do give up is that you still be sick in bed, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Or you would use it as some people can use it as an excuse for, oh, I won't be able to do this because this will happen to me. Because I'll get sick again if I do this or do that. Yeah, God, and believe me, I've battled with that all my life, and I've gone through other illness there, and it's so hard, and I still battle with it. I still battle with it
Yeah.
because I've got chronic fatigue. I got that now, and I have to be, I keep thinking, oh, can I do a great big movie that's going to take me 3 weeks or 3 months, and on the set 12 hours a day, well, so I'm still getting there. I still work at it. I think the thing is that I don't give up. I keep working at it, and you know what? I've learned not to get disappointed if it does happen.
Yeah.
When I can't do something, bad luck. It's not meant to be. Don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up over it.
And those 12-hour things that come up in your life, they're talking about, you put that battle through, you still go to them, regardless of
Yeah,
all that
even
thought. And as you said,
even sometimes if I am feeling bad, because sometimes you don't have a control over this thing. If people know chronic fatigue, it's something that can hit you here, there, everywhere. You don't know what you can do sometimes on any given day. I just try to forget about it, and if it happens, it happens. And I've had some instances where I've had to just, I gotta go. I can't do it. Sorry. you know. And they always have, like, for things like this, they have standings, they have people. It's extra. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't even put myself in for like a leading role right now for, a 3 month thing, because that would be the wrong thing to do. I wouldn't want to do the wrong thing by someone else. But yeah, it's to push yourself as much as you can, but also be mindful of where you're at. You know what I mean? Don't completely be blind to the fact that, yes, you might have this, you might have that. You get to understand how you work, take on jobs that you can deal with quite well, which is what I've been doing at this point.
so that's alignment, isn't it? It's doing things that you
Yeah.
are aligned in your health, your mind, and your body as well. This is where I'm at. This is what I can deliver. Um, in other times, I might be able to do more, but that's measured on that day to day or week, or the signs that you're getting in yourself. Even though you're unaware of when some things might pop up, you've still got
Yeah.
you've still got a mechanism of how to deal with that. Some strategies in
Yeah.
place.
That's it.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So this is about connection to later in life, and this is, we've gone and we've answered, bits and pieces of these questions as well, which we'll tie it all together. So, how have your early life experience influenced your work or passion for certain topics in your career?
Well, health is one. So I was a trainer. I had my own training business when I was in Mississippi, because and I was dealing with people coming from rehab after surgery. So knee surgeries, there's all sorts of surgeries. So I could bring them back to training and bring them back to normal. I always used to love it because I used to love it when their progress came and then finally they were all good like they used to be prior to whatever surgeries or knee problems or whatever it was they had. And I used to love that. That was so good because that was reminded me of when I was not good and then I came good and because I did this and I know it works and I was very passionate, obviously very passionate about exercise, health. I love to read about all supplements, nutrition, mixing food, how you do this, how you do that. Scientific, I love all that. And that's what I got from that was the main thing I got as far as because that was part of my working life.
Mm.
Um, yeah, mostly that from the illness and coming out of that.
And you did the travel that you said you talked about as well. So, how did your early life experiences, influence your work passion there?
Oh, well, I just wanted because I'd moved every 12 months. Since I was young, I didn't want to be sitting in the same place for very long.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go out and see the world. I wanted to see what other cultures were doing. I wanted to see what the world had to offer. And I was just so lucky at that in the 70s. I was just so lucky. And I had so many trips, with travel agent groups or whatever to Paris, London, all these sorts of exotic things that for that age was pretty good. 16, 17, 18, 19. That was I got a lot. I got a lot around. But it made me see the world in a bigger perspective rather than just what happens around your own little world or your own little country or your own little town or wherever you are. And that I just found it made me grow up. But it wasn't just so much that, it was the work environment was hugely stressful, hugely stressful. And I knew within the first 12 months, I had to stick it. I had to stick with it. I'm not going back to school now. I'm not going backwards. So I stuck with it for 3 years at this terrible place, but I got the experience. Once I got that experience, I got great jobs after that. And everything went well. Everything went well. I had to put in the hard work though.
Yeah, you stuck
And
to
that's again not giving up.
and you stuck to a plan. And even though because you also had that breakup that happened in your family's life as well, um, you know, they didn't necessarily stick at something. You saw things come and going, but you also stuck to something there. And that, I don't know if that was partly influencing you as well, because you can see what happens when things fall apart, and
Yeah.
when you don't stick at something. So you stuck at something and it took you to wondrous places, which is amazing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I have had I've got to say something though. I look back. Sometimes you just forget because you're getting involved in what you're doing, and I don't try to spend too much time looking back because I'm so busy doing things now and going forward as well. But I think back what an amazing life so far I've had, and I will attribute to that because I pushed myself to do things sometimes that I didn't think I could do.
And so much of that comes from those early years. You push through 9 to 10 years of ill health, of, dying twice, apparently, that your mum tells you. And I'm sure you did, right? They don't lie about
Yeah.
those things because they're scary situations for any mother to go through. And, that has been your constant.
Yep,
So
certainly has.
do you see
So
any?
there's always good out of this bad stuff that happens to you, right?
There is. I love that. And do you see any parallels between your early life challenges and the themes you address in your professional work today? Even though the work that you're doing today is aligned with doing what you love.
There's principles that remain the same. I'm still dedicated. I treat it like a job. And with this particular thing, it's about putting in applications. Keep putting applications. You don't worry about if you don't get any answers because it's a sort of industry, they don't care, If you look good or they want that or you're going to suit their project, that's fine. So it's a numbers game. So I don't get upset or worry, oh, because they haven't come back to me, am I not going to get anything? I'm too busy putting the applications in. Sometimes I'll get them back and think, I do keep records, but I think, oh, what one was that? Better have another look. Better have another look because, that's life. If we sit and worry about things that oh, this didn't come up. Oh, that doesn't mean I'm any good and I can't do it. Maybe I'm not very good at this, or maybe, oh, this negative self-talk, we can all do it. I don't know about you, but if it's ever going to be had negative self-talk from me, it's going to happen in the middle of the night when you wake up, in the quiet hours of the morning, early morning, and then your mind goes, well, you sure you can do that? And I'm, while the same thing, shut up. So I think we all have our doubts about ourselves. We all have anxieties to different levels. I don't think I've met anyone that hasn't had an anxiety about doing something, something new.
And I, study a lot about anxiety as well. And anxiety can actually be a good motivator and driver in itself, because you can take hold of it and absorb it and be in it, or you can take hold of it and learn from it and go, well, it's pushing me to my next direction. So,
Hmm.
and that voice that you talk about inside the head, it is a really good, shut up, as because you can find it just constantly narrating. But
Uh,
sometimes I'll get there and say, who's doing that talking? Because even though it is the inner you, as soon as you say who's doing that talking, everything shuts up because it's like, oh,
yeah, you're
someone's
right. Well, it's just I don't know. I think it's human nature that we do that to a point. And I said it as I mean I can remember the days when I first started in sales, and I was oh my gosh, am I going to make the target? Oh, what am I going to do? Panic, panic, panic. And I had to make cold calls. Oh, what if they reject me? What if they don't like me? It was all about if they don't personally like it, and had nothing to do with that. But you know what? That was one of the hardest things for me. And at the beginning, oh, I found it so tough. Am I going to make this? Am I going to? But I kept at it. I kept at it, and the more you did it, the easier it became. And then, I was making calls in the health insurance industry for corporate plans. So to go to companies and try to incorporate a plan there, a health plan. And it's calling for the appointment, basically. And then I got better at it. And then after a while, you didn't even think about it. It wasn't even a drama anymore. So you overcame by doing it. But the more you do something, the easier it becomes.
yeah, more of those lovely lessons of life to take with you and take hold. And the wonderful thing from, just this early part of childhood interview with you is that you said, I don't, I'm a doing. And so I do a lot on, we are human beings, but what are you human doing? So
Yeah. Yeah.
there's lots of us that are just being, and we're humans being, and there's lots of us who are human doing. But some of us have got to be human being and human doing at the same time, understanding we are a human being, which is let's stop, breathe, ground ourselves a little, and let's keep doing. And in the human doing, you're getting that experience of life, and you're getting the quality, and you're understanding, and you're experiencing, and you're getting joy, and you're getting happiness, but you're also getting sadness. You've got to experience it all. So the motivation there for me is the human doing, and you've been doing it since day dot.
Believe me, and you know what? Sometimes, as I said before, and this is one thing I've realized quite a lot, because you're always learning, and I like that. I don't care what age you are, you're always learning. We should always be learning. If you're not, there's something wrong. But I find sometimes I have kept going at a speed. I'm going for this, I'm going for the golf. So focused sometimes that I haven't sat back and thought, is this really making me happy or not? And I got to that point at one time, and that goes later on in life. I'll tell you about that later. But it hit, and I'm thinking, God, I've done all this, and I don't really like it. Why am I here? And I just changed everything.
And it didn't
But I
matter.
had to stop. I actually stopped and thought, what am I doing? I don't like this. Why am I doing it? And it's because I never questioned myself, and I thought because what I thought was, and society sets you up that way. Oh, climb the ladder, do this and everything, you'll reach the top and everything will be just wonderful. That doesn't work that way. Was disappointed to find that out, but I did find
And at the same
it
time,
out.
it brought your life alive again. right? Because you stopped doing things and went and chased after things that you did align with. So it is a really good experience to do that. And it is when they say stop and smell the roses kind of thing. And
Mm.
I can definitely, I concur with what you're saying, especially when grandchildren have come into my life. Someone said, Michelle, are you stopping to smell the roses? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, whatever, keep going. But then I thought about it for a moment, just like you did. And I went, stopping and smelling the roses for me meant grabbing a cuddle from your grandchild before you walk out the door because you're being so busy. The kiss from your
Mm.
husband to say goodbye, I love you, because you're not stopping to do those things. And that's what I went, oh my goodness, I'm missing out on that. And I have FOMO, the fear of missing out on
Mm.
things for a lot of things. And I'm like,
Yes.
I don't want to miss out on a hug and a kiss from a grandchild or my husband. So I
Yeah.
do need to bring that back in. So it's a constant reminder.
And but also there's another reason why people run, and I've been guilty of it too, is oh, I'm doing blah 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 because you're trying to fill a void of something that you're not totally happy, and you're hoping that if I do this or try that, that'll make me that'll make me complete or happy.
Yeah.
And that people, so that's why people run fast sometimes, because, and I've been guilty of it myself. Because oh, I do that, blah blah blah, and that'll make me happy, blah 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 blah, and I haven't stopped. And then when I finally have realized, oh, it's gone through my big brain, like, hey Vic, it's not really working. Then yeah, then you stop, and that can be the hardest time actually.
Mm.
Sometimes that can be the hardest time when you stop and
Mm.
you really sort out and going, hey, I've been running. What am I running to? What am I running from?
Yes.
And you have to really ask yourself some pretty hard questions.
And
And it's
and
not always an easy thing.
it's not, and it's really good that you have brought that up as well, because the a lot of people don't know that they're running away from something when they're actually focused on running towards something, until you stop and do that and figure out, am I running to or running from? And yeah, throughout my life, I've done the same thing as well. And we will hear about those points, I'm sure, in further interviews to come. But what I
Yeah.
wanted to
Yeah.
do here is thank you very much for,
Thank you.
engaging us in your early childhood and bringing up some of those memories. And I know as we go through these interviews, it's going to bring up that life and that reflection of going back. And I know that it's also going to be a healing and learning experience for you as well.
Yes, Michelle, thank you so much. I think you're just wonderful. You're amazing.
I think you are as well. That's why we're here.
You're a star. Get it? You're a star. Yes. I love you.
And there's a whole story on that one. And my inspiration here is, not only to do the interview here with you, but with other women of similar age groups. And for me, these are the grandmothers of the world, and here to inspire us in some way, and that I inspire to be, like that someday as well. So
Oh, thank you.
till next time we get on this journey, we are going to go through the teenager journey next time we meet. So that will be next
Ooh, that'll
month.
be fun.
And we've got a wonderful amount of questions, around about the same amount, for next time. So I do thank you very much for your time. And I'm just going to end the recording here. But please stay on.
Thank you, Michelle.
Stay
Thank
on
you,
there.
Michelle. You're sweet.
Stay on there for me.
I will.